This is Gemara Nedarim Daf. Hey, we begin once again another incredible week of learning a daf together. We're holding in the bottom of Dalit Amid Beis, and we're in the middle of trying to figure out this statement of Shmuel that we ended off the previous year, about 10 lines at the bottom, that Shmuel said, Bekulam ad sha'aymeher, sha'ani oichel lecha, sha'ani tayim lecha. So said the Gemara, we equated it to a Braisa. We asked that it's shver, it's the same thing as the Reisha, v'ayid asr asr lamali lamisni. If the pshat that we just said was correct, why do I have to say the word asr 2 times? And this is really where we're holding Ella, a new pshat in Shmuel. Ella Amar Shmuel. Taima da Amar Shani Oich Lecha, Shani Taim Lecha, Chuda Asr v'Chaveiroi Mutter. We're sort of diverting onto a completely new pshat. Says Shmuel, the reason why is because the one who made the neder, he said, Shani Oich Lecha, that I'm going to eat of yours, that I'm going to taste of yours. That's when he's asr to do what? He's asr to benefit from his friend. But who is asr? Only himself. But chaviroi, but his friend is going to be mutter. Avol, and from the contrast we'll understand Shmuel much better. Avol Amar Madarni Eimecha, says Shmuel. But if he didn't say the same wording that we just said, if he didn't say Madarni, if he didn't say Shani Taim Lecha, Shani Oich Lecha, if he didn't say Madrani Mimecha, Mifarshani Mimecha, Merachagni Mimecha, but rather, what did he say? Rather, he said, Aval Amar Madrani Heimecha Lichudei. He just said, I am in a neder from you, or I am separated from you, or I am a merachakni, I am distanced from you. Then not only is he himself asur, shneim asurim. Then they're both going to be forbidden. And where does Shmuel get this from? Explains the Gemara. Ki Adam Rav Yossi Rav Chanina Madrani Himecha Shneim Asurim. Says Rav Yossi Rav Chanina that when someone says Madrani Himecha, then not only is he himself asur, who asur, and as well Chaveira, his friend, is going to be asur as well. And that is the statement of Shmuel. And this statement of Shmuel we're going to deal with now for extensive amount of time. So if he says Madrani Heimecha Lichudei, a very pariv, a very non-encompassing, non-direct lashon, then he and his friend is going to be asur. Let's look at one ran before we continue. The top ran that says, "Of Yisrael Chanina Madrani Heimecha Shnei Masurim Nira Beinai." Says the ran, "Tehu Adin Mishom the Hachi Taima." Says the ran, what's the reason? Mishum dimashma moidar ani unechasai mimecha uminechasecha. Says the Ran. You know where we learned this from? It's because included in this wording is that I am asur and you are asur. Meaning, now we're getting a little bit more clarity. We said on the bottom of Amid Beis, who da asur v'chaveiroi mutter. Who's chaveiroi? We didn't explain. So the Ran now is keying us in. Chaveiro is the other guy. I'm asur to you, and you're asur to me. Because when I said, Madar ani unechasai mimecho uminechasecho, me and you both, the neder goes back and forth both ways. Helkach kivan de bechlal. Kivan de bechlal ani aminechasim al korchach chaveiro nami asur. If included in me is my properties, then not only am I asur, but you are asur as well. And that is the statement of Shmuel, the statement of Yosef Rav Chanina, that when one says the wording Madrani Heimecha without anything else, both parties are forbidden. So now we're going to try to see, does this stand the test of time? Tanan, it says in a Mishnah, Harini Alecha Cheirem. If someone says a very similar wording, and of course in Nedarim, all about words, one little letter makes the world of a difference. So if someone says, I'm in Cheirem towards you, Hamoider Aser, Aval Hamadir Loi, only the Moider, Well, I'll be the Moider, the one that makes the neder. He is Aser. Aval Hamadir, the one in which the neder is made against, Loi, is not Aser. So ask the Gemara, I don't understand. Rav Yossi, Rav Chanina, what did you just teach me? You just taught me Shmuel. What did you just teach me? If you excuse me, if you left it open-ended, if you just said Madrani Eimecha without anything else, as the top really Rashi, which we know is not Rashi, spells that so beautifully, then they're both Aser. But we see in a Mishnah not that way. We see only the Moider is Aser and the Madir is not. Answers the Gemara, Kikoin de Parish. The Mishnah is dealing with a case where he said explicitly, Ve'at olai loy, but you are not in a chayrim to me. Meaning we just asked for a Mishnah that said, Arini lecha chayrim. Explains the Gemara, you know why he doesn't go both ways? Because he says explicitly, Ve'at olai loy. Says the Gemara, 1 second, the Mishnah itself said, At olai chayrim. The Mishnah said that if someone says, you are in chayrim to me, so from the end of the Mishnah, it seems, from the end of the Mishnah, it seems that only in this case is the Noider Aser and the Madir Loi. But again, another kashan on Shmuel and Rav Chanina. Because at the end of the Mishnah, when someone says, Atalai chayrim, we see that they're both not included. Unlike Shmuel and Rav Chanina, that said they would both be included in such a case. Explains the Gemara, Kigoin de Parish again, V'ana Alecha Loi. So in both parts of the Mishnah, the Gemara is allowing it to work within the opinion of Shmuel and Rav Chanina by saying that the Mishnah is talking about a case in which he explained explicitly, V'atalai Loi, V'ani Alecha Loi. Avol stamamai, says the Gemara, okay, so you made the Mishnah, each case working to your advantage. But what's the case of stama? What if he doesn't explain anything else? Seemingly shneim asurim, then they would both be aser. But hamadiktani seivarini alecha v'atalai shneim asurim. But the end of that Mishnah said explicitly that if someone says, I am in neder to you and you va'atolai shnei masurim, hadin ho de shnei masurim, hostama wasav chavei mot. So ask the Gemara, the way that we just explained the Mishnah comes out that only if you explicitly said me to you and not you to me and not me to you, that's going to be the case that it goes one way. But the implication is stama, they're both going to be us. But we see from the end of the Mishnah that it's not true. We see clearly from the Sefer of the Mishnah where he says, Harini alech v'atalai, then they're both aser. It sounds like only because he said it atalai, he said both. But it sounds like stamo and happy. Ella, says the Gemara, okay, so since we have no way of reconciling the Mishnah with Rav Chanina, Ella hachi itmar de Rav Chanina. We have to learn as follows. Moidar ani lecha. What is this din of Rav Chanina? What is this din of Shmuel? That when someone says, Moider ani lecha, I am in neder to you, then shnehem asurim. Then both of them are aser to benefit from each other. But madrani heimecha, but if he said, I am in neder to you, hu aser v'chaveiroi muter. So now we're further specifying, clarifying, zoning in on the din of Shmuel and Rav Yossi Rav Chanina. That if he says, Madarani licha, everything's included, me to you and you to me. But if he said, Madarani heimecha, then not. So everyone here is already wondering that 1 second, this doesn't work. What was the din in the Mishnah? The wording in the Mishnah was heimecha, and we learned that the Mishnah in Shmuel is what? But But we explained that according to Shmuel, it's only in a case in which he said, Shani oichlecha, Shani tayim lecha. That's when the din is going to be uasav chaveiroi mutter. Meaning the Gemara now is just articulating and speaking out that the way that you're explaining Rav Yosef Rav Chanina doesn't fit with Shmuel. Avo madrani eimecha. What do we learn? Shnei masurim. And you just explained Rav Yosef Rav Chanina that madrani eimecha only uasav chaveiroi mutter. So ask the Gemara, we have a bit of a problem. Ella, says the Gemara, me'ikara dishmuel, hachi itmar. Let's go back and let's redefine Shmuel. So today we started off by learning Madrani hey mecha, I'm usher to you, usher to me. We said this is like whom? Like Rav Chanina on the top line. Madrani hey mecha, they're both usher. The Gemara went along and the Gemara had a Mishnah. After going through the Reisha, the Seifa, boom, we can't explain Rav Yosef Rav Chanina. So he reinterpreted Rav Yosef Rav Chanina. Problem is now he doesn't fit with Shmuel. So says the Gemara, Ella, Meikara di Shmuel. Smack in the middle of the Amid, first line is Asurin, Hachi Etmar. Taim Adamar Shani Yoichlecha, Shani Taim Lecha, Hu De'in, Hu As, Hu. In the case in which he said, Ani oichel, ani tayim, the whole end of the Mishnah, who de'ein hu aser elabachila, that's when the iser is only in what? Oichel, tayim, eating, tasting food. Hamadrani eimecha, but let's say he didn't say these last clauses. So originally in the first part of today's share, we thought that if he split it up, it's going to include both people. Now we're saying no. If he just said Hamadrani eimecha and he did not say Oichel Tayim, now what's the difference going to be? Not if it goes two ways. The difference is going to be Aser Afilu Behana. Then the Isser is not going to be specific only to eating. Then the Isser is going to be even in Hana. Ask the Gemara Yachi if that is true. Lema Shmuel Hachi. Why does Shmuel not just say Ve'im loy amar elo shani oichelcha shani tayil nacha ein aser ela be'achila? Ask the Gemara. It doesn't fit in the wording of Shmuel. Because if this was the scenario, then Shmuel should have said, now it's a little bit of a question whether this part of the Gemara is included in the Girsa, but let's take a moment to see the first wide line in the Ran. The Ran says, Koloimar. The Ran says, Koloimar. Heichi kamar Shmuel HaShemer demashma dim loy amar hachi loy miser. Adarabba. Iloy amar hachi miser tfei. It comes out that if you said in the Mishnah, Shani Oichel, Shani Tayim, then it's more specific. But if you didn't say that, then it includes all Hana. But the wording of the Mishnah does not sound that way. Ella, says the Gemara, 8 lines on the bottom. The first one line is Ella. But up to the third word, Ella hachi itmar. Time, Adamar, Shani Oichel, Shani Tayim, the Chauda Aser. That's when there is an Isser when he said Madrani, Merachakni, together with Shani Oichel, Shani Tayim. Aval Amma Madrani Heimecha. But if he just said Madrani Heimecha, Merachakni Heimecha, but he did not say Oichel Tayim, etc., Loi Mashma de Amar Aser. It's not Mashma that he's talking about being Aser. What do you mean? What else is he talking about if he says Madrani, Merachakni, my taima? You know why? Because Moider ani mimcha, he just means I'm vowed from you. Loi mishta'ina b'hadach mashma. You know what he means? He just means I'm not going to talk to you. It doesn't mean a real neder. He doesn't mean that we can't have benefit. No, you went too extreme. He just meant I'm not going to talk to you. I'm separated from you. What does that mean? And I won't do business with you. Mashma. What does it mean? I'm distant from you. Mashma. That I'm not going to be within your 4 amos. So the Gemara now, in the third explanation of Shmuel, the Gemara says that Shmuel in the Mishnah was teaching us the following. That if you said Merachakni together with Shani Oichel, or with Shani Tayim, or any of the cases, or Mefer Shani, Merachakni, all the Lashonis, together with Shani Oichel, etc., that's when it's a neder. But if you only said half, it's not a neder at all. What did he mean? He just meant, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to stand in your Dalet Amos. He just meant, I'm not going to do business with you, etc. Utilizing that explanation, says the Gemara, let's turn to Heyamid Beis. And says the Gemara as follows. Let's just there we go. Let's make the Gemara visible. And now, let's get to it. Says the Gemara, Leima Kasavar Shmuel. So fine, we understand that what Shmuel just said. Shmuel just taught us a din that only when you put the two parts of the statement together. But if you didn't put the two parts of the statement together, says Shmuel, then the halacha is not going to be that he's in a neder from him, but rather it just means I'm not going to talk to you, etc. So says the Gemara, Lema Kasavar Shmuel, Yodayim she'ein moichichos, loyhave Yodayim. So now that we got clarity in Shmuel, now we take that clarity in Shmuel and we apply it into our Sugya Nedarim. Now this is going to be a very large discussion which is called Yodayim she'ein moichichos. We've already learned that the end of the Mishnah is dealing with Yodayim. What is Yodayim? Yodayim is a terminology that we're going to have in Nedarim, which means something which is not specific. I did not say a full statement. I said a part of a statement, and we have to finish it off. So based on that which Shmuel just said, says the Gemara, we can see a yisoid in Nedarim, in Yodayim. That if Yodayim she'ein moichichos, if I have a statement which is not clear, it's not precise, it's not a Yodayim, it's not a neder. Meaning, in the Mishnah, what did Shmuel teach us? When I said Mefreshani, Mirachakni, Medrani, together with Shani Oichel, Shani Toyim, then it's a neder. Because then it's a full, clear sentence. But if not, Shmuel said it's not a neder at all. So seemingly Shmuel holds, Yodayim she'enan moichichos, loy have Yodayim. And this is a kasha, because does Shmuel really hold that? Answers the Gemara in Shmuel Moikim Lo Lemas Nitan Kirav Yehuda Dam Yodayim Shein Mechichos Lo Avi Yodayim. Ditzinan. So Shmuel is learning the din in the Mishnah. The din in the Mishnah says Shmuel is like Rabbi Yehuda that holds this precise statement. Yodayim Shein Mechichos are not a dayim. It's not a neder. Ditzinan says Rabbi Yehuda, and this is going to be the last idea for today. Gufoy shall get. What is a get? A get, someone that gets divorced. He writes, Harei at mutares l'chol adam. Says the Tanna Kama, when someone says, you are mutter to any man, you're not my wife anymore, that's a get. Rav Yehuda Omer, no, you have to add on another statement. V'din dahave lechi minai sefer trichon v'geresh shavuk. Says Rav Yehuda, you have to add on. V'din, and this dahave lechi minai, this document should be what? Sefer teruchim. A document of expulsion, v'gerish shavukim, and a letter of abandonment. Says Rav Yehuda, it only works if it's clear as day. So explains the Gemara that Shmuel in the Mishnah is holding like whom? Rav Yehuda. Yodayim she'ein moichichos does not work, so it only works if it's crystal clear. So I ask the Gemara now, which is really, everything is really a build up to this point, and parenthetically we'll point out if people are wondering that the Lashonos of Nedarim, the Gemaras are even a little bit different. There are sources that say that Nedarim is written by different Tanaim and Morayim. It's not always the same terminology that we're always used for. So ask the Gemara, "My dachik Shmuel lo kimna lemasnitan ki Rav Yehuda." Look, Makir Rabbanan, why did Shmuel force himself into a box? He's sitting in a corner, now he has to throw up his hand and say, yeah, the Mishnah is Rav Yehuda. Why? Say it's the Rabbanan, and then Afal Gadein Yodayim Oichichos, and even if it's not clear, it's still going to be a neder. Answers the Gemara, Amar Ravan Masniton Kashyotek. The Mishnah was a kasha to Shmuel. Amai Tani, why did the Mishnah say Shani Oichlecha, Shani Tayim Lecha? Why did the Mishnah give those examples? Listni, Shani Oichel, Shani Tayim. Why did it say Lecha? So specific, so clear. I will eat of yours. I will taste of yours. From that word in the Mishnah, the extra clarity says Shmuel. Shma min abin yadayim oichichos. That is where Shmuel learned it from the Mishnah itself. So finally we have Pshan and Shmuel, and the Gemara is concluding, based on this Pshan and Shmuel, that the Mishnah is Rav Yehuda. Itmar, says the Gemara, Yadayim sheina moichicha, Abaye Amar havi Yadayim, Rav Amar lo havi Yadayim. This concept of Yadayim, this concept of whether we need perfect clarity in a neder, says the Gemara, is a machlok as Abaye and Rava. Shmuel just said like Rav Yehuda that Yadayim sheina moichicha are not Yadayim, says the Gemara, that just like Rava. Whereas Abaye argues. Where do we get this from? Amar Rava Ravidi Esvarli. Rava explains, you know where I learned out the Yadayim that are not clear do not work. Says Rava Ravidi explained, Amar Ka Nazir Lahazir Lahashem. Makish Yodois Niziros. We have a Hekish, a good old-fashioned equation, putting things together between the hand of a Nazir and the Nazir itself. Man, Naziros, just like when you make yourself a no, behafla. There's a rule about Naziros, it has to be behafla. It has to be with absolute clarity and precision, or else it's not a Naziros. Af Yodois Naziros, says Rava, behafla. So that's the source of Rava. But of course, any time we have a machlokes as a double machlokes, it's shver. Ask the Gemara, what? So Lema Bib looked at Rav Yehuda v'Rabbanan kamifliki. Are Abaye and Rava arguing about something that Rav Yehuda and the Rabbanan regularly argued? Titanan, as we just learned, Guvushal get our Ramadar Schol Adam Rav Yehuda Himer. But then David Lechimina, he saved the Ruch and the Gepeturin. V'Garesh Vukin. Does it have to be absolutely clear? So says the Gemara, what's going on? Abaye and Rav are arguing about something that Rav Yehuda and the Rabbanan already argued. So answers the Gemara, Abaye Damar K'Rabbanan, V'Rava K'Amar K'Rav Yehuda. Assuming that's part of the Kasha. It says Abaye hold like the Rabbanan, and Rav holds like Rav Yehuda. It's schwer to say that. So Amar Lecha Abaye explains Abaye as follows. Anadam Yafil Rav Yehuda, I could hold even like Rav Yehuda. When did Rav Yehuda say that we need to have absolute clarity? Explains the Gemara. You know when? Ela gabe get. Says Rav Yehuda that was only by get. Why? Tibi'inon krisos velekas. We'll learn in Gin extensively. There's a special din by get that needs to be severance, kares, cut off. Therefore, says Rav Yehuda, that has to be absolutely clear. Avo ba'alma mishamasle. But in any other case, says Rav Yehuda, maybe not. So Abaye says, I can even hold like Rav Yehuda. Meaning, because maybe Rav Yehuda's din is only by get. But says Abaye, I don't know if he necessarily applies to everyone else. So says Abaye, I hold Yadayin Shein Malchichos Havin Yadayin, and I can fit with Rav Yehuda. Similarly, Rava Amar Nedarim, I feel like Rabbanan, and I call like the Rabbanan. Now the Gemara is explaining why Abaye and Rava had to debate this point if Rav Yehuda and the Rabbanan already debated the point. Because Abaye says I could hold like Rav Yehuda, and Rava says I could hold like the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan only said this didn't by get. We'll turn over to Rav Amar for a moment. Why? And therefore we conclude that the statement of Shmuel is that you need absolutely clarity in the Mishnah. You need to have the first part, Madrani Mimcha, Merachakni Mimcha, together with Shani Eichel, Shani Tayim, in order to be a neder. If not, it's not a neder. Why not? It just means I'm not going to talk to you, I'm not going to do business with you, I'm not going to hang out with you. What does that show us? Yodayim she'inan moichichos lo yahavi yodayim. It's not clear, it's not a neder. Like whom? Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because the wording in the Mishnah of Lecha pointed Shmuel in this direction. Is this machlekes Rav Yehuda and the Rabbanan the same machlekes Rav and Abaye? Says the Gemara, not necessarily. We could say that it's not the same machlekes because Rav Yehuda and the Rabbanan perhaps were arguing specifically by get that you need get krisos. It has to be clear, and you can't divorce your friend's wife. And that's why you have to write that, but maybe it will not be the same, and that's where we come into the machlekes Abaye and Rava. We'll pick off at the top of Vav and Aleph in the next year in Mirza Hashem.